Hi, I'm your girl, Sonali Ray. Welcome back to another video. Forgive me for laughing and all this stuff. My phone just started recording while I was trying to eat, and I didn't want it to record yet, but here we go. All right, we're going to come back with another video. Of course, you know the routine. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Today, we're going to talk about how to talk to your MPSs. MPS, if you don't know, stands for Marine Placement Officer. And let me back it up. I am a United States sailor of the civilian sector, and I work for a company affectionately known as Military Sea Lift Command. Okay, so that's my backstory. I've been doing this for about 11 years. I make videos currently to talk about that experience and to help you not fall in some of the pitfalls that I and so many other sailors have had to experience. Okay. So in this video, we'll talk about MPSs. MPSs are your Marine Placement Specialists. And a couple videos ago, I mentioned how they had me in limbo, meaning they had me still attached to a ship, even though I've been home for a while, right? So generally what that means is if you are attached to a ship, your MPSs don't really worry about you until it's time for relief. You get a 107 or Red Cross because then they have to fill that billet, okay? The billet that you once occupied. So you don't have much contact with them. I mean, there are other instances like issues with pay and things like that. They are contacted, but generally that's through your purser if you're on a ship that has one, and if not, if you're on a ship that has a captain that acts as a purser, then that's how that works. So, get you up to speed. They had me assigned to a ship that I've been off for months. And when you go out on medical, if you have any issues for whatever reason you can't return to work, you're supposed to contact medical. So what ended up happening was medical saw that I was still attached to a ship. And they could not go into the system and change it because my MPS had to. Well, my MPS is generally they don't really like to answer the phone. So I got off the ship because of bereavement. And this particular MPS, he didn't respond. So, of course, I communicated with him again just so they could simply put me in the system accurately. Okay. So, I'm going to be completely transparent with y'all. Not every MPS is a good person. Okay. And they usually aren't even that great at their job, to be fair. I'll finish this story and then I'll tell you about some older stuff that I've had to endure. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So when I started this video, I said it's to teach you how to talk to your MPSs. My best goal, always be respectful and cordial, but I have heard of instances where they cuss you out, tell you ain't shit, F you, hang up the phone in your face. Like, yeah, you about to get into that. So, I don't generally talk to them. And what I mean is, I don't take phone calls. You can leave a message, a voicemail, and then I'll respond to you via email. I only do emails because that's a paper trail. They can't say that we didn't do this on that day and we didn't talk about this and I didn't call. You know what I mean? We didn't have that conversation. Unless you have an app on your phone that records conversations, in which case at some point they'll probably pass an ordinance saying that you're not supposed to record conversations, even though they can. Something to think about. But if you don't have an app that records conversations and you don't make them identify themselves, and then towards the end of the conversation, I would tell them, hey, just so you know, I've just recorded, this conversation's been recorded for quality assurance purposes so that we all can keep the, stay in an integral place. So I don't communicate with them. And for example, last week, I was sent an email by my MPS because I'm assuming they got in trouble. Now, here is something funky. Some women whom I don't know because they rotate MPSs a lot sent me an email telling me that I did not follow protocol and that I did not, and I was AWOL and I've been AWOL for this amount of time and blah, 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 right? And then, but she prefaced the whole email with, do not respond to this email. This isn't one of those emails that you get that says do not reply. This says, whoever she is, it had the branch department email box, which I didn't even know we had. But now that I do. And then it had Some people CC, which the branch was CC'd, and some people CC. So here's the thing: when you start an email with all these people on it, I'm not worried about who's on it. I'm not worried about anybody, but I'm curious to see who was BCC. BCC means blind copied. And the reason you told me not to respond to this one is because you don't want whoever's BCC'd to see what my response would be. So I responded to that. I hit reply all because you're not going to tell me I did something wrong, which I didn't. And you're not going to like do this to me and then I not have an opportunity to defend myself or to bring awareness to what's actually happening. You messed up and it's not my fault. You did it. I don't have the power. No SIVMAR has the power to put themselves, change your SF50. It's not even in our scope. Unless you do shore duty, which we don't even have, but sometimes in supply, they'll pull people from ships and allow them to work alongside MPS. That's how I learned a bunch of their bullshit. Because I knew somebody in MPS and they was like, yo, they are nasty. He hated it so much. He could have had a smooth ride had he did some of the dirty stuff that they do to people. Like if they don't like you personally, they'll get a new person who don't know anything about you, don't have a clue that they're doing something against you. They just think that they're helping out the placement specialist when the whole time the placement specialists are using them as a pawn to get back at you because they don't like your ass. So be that as it may, I don't know if this person was doing that, whether they knew it or not. I wanted to make sure things were clear. So I responded. I said, I understand your request for me to not respond to this email. I put boldly, denied. I said, I feel that it is best for all parties involved. And I added a couple of more people to that list, in addition to whoever was already BCC, because BCC people still get the information. I said I found it necessary for everybody involved to be on the same page at the same time. And I just went down the list. You guys did not have me. I was in limbo for 2.5, almost 3 months. I brought it to your attention so that we can move forward. Now, to be fair, I could have let my ass stay in limbo. I really could have. I could have been in limbo and kicked it because they already didn't know where I was, right? The only time it would have came a problem is when the ship that I was attached to was in the yard, when that ship got out of the yard and requested a cook. But the funny thing is, I still don't think they would have picked up on it because that's how slow they are. Some of them really are stupid. So I always offer you got to know how to professionally say F you to people. You just do. Because out here, cussing is what they want you to do. So then they can say, well, you use derogatory language and blah, blah, blah. No. I don't tell you to go F yourself professionally. So I said what I said. I cited dates because they tried to hit me with, well, on this date, you're absolutely right. On that day I did. But I communicated with medical, which is how I found out that I was in the system improperly. And neither I nor medical have the power to put me in the system. I know this because medical told me this a couple of times. So once was in writing, another one was via phone call, but it doesn't matter. All you need is to be in writing one time. And that's when medical was like, you're not available to be in this status because you're already in the field. I'm on a couch. Y'all see this? I'm at the house. So they started with their thing and I was like, well, if you'd like for me to show you the information, I'd be glad to furnish that for you. Right? Now, here's the thing. You are not obligated to tell them shit about your medical stuff. That is HIPAA protected. Privacy Act protected. You ain't got to tell them nothing about the intimate details of your medical work. You ain't got to tell them that. Legally, they shouldn't even be asking you that shit. But if they do, just be like, well, that's privacy protected information. And I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable giving that to you, seeing as you're not a physician. Because sometimes because you don't know stuff, they will exploit that. And they intimidate you. And then, unfortunately, if you are a new hire, you have a year. They can fire you for anything and nothing at all. But even that comes with stipulations. They can't just be horrible to you and violate the law and fire you. It is a good idea, and I've said this so many times in all of my videos, to cover your ass and keep a log. That's why it's important to communicate and correspond with people via email. I don't give a shit if you're on a ship. If somebody gives you an order, tell them that you are only open to it. Well, don't even say it that way because sometimes it's not an environment where you can. But I have been in situations where I've had stewards and third stewards be so disrespectful and go outside of the scope of their job that the supply officers told them that they couldn't talk to me directly, that any information that they wanted me to know, they had to put it in writing, and everybody had to sign it, including myself, to acknowledge that I got it. So that meant if somebody was talking on a 1MC, which is the intercom, and they gave an order for my department or my position, if they didn't put it in writing and give it to me and they signed and I signed it, I didn't have to respond. And that was just on that ship. I've never seen it happen again. But they really did go outside the scope. If y'all want to know any of my crazy stories, which are happen to be true, let me know. I will put a whole montage of shit together because I have a myriad of different experiences that probably should be told. Anyway, back to how you speak to them. Put everything in writing. It starts and stops with that because it can save your job. It can save your life because even if they fire you unjustly within your year, you can go to the office of special counsel and be like, listen, this is, yeah, they're firing me. Yes, I'm in my year, but it's unjust. And then it can turn into an EEO case, which I hate those, or a civil case. You could just sue them. In fact, people do all the time. So keep a log of everything you go through and always solicit a good federal attorney. It's bonus points if they understand admiral law. That's important because that's the jurisdiction you're under as a civilian sailor. Okay. Also, back to the email situation. So my MPS called my bluff on me furnishing the emails or the proof. Okay. I had it. So I was like, okay. So I took screenshots of what I sent them, and I prefaced that email with saying, as you know, the intimate details of my medical records are private, are HIPAA protected. So unfortunately, I can't give you any specifics on my health. But what I can do is afford you the emails that prove that I was in the system incorrectly. So I swiftly sent it back, and I always hit reply all. A lot of times they don't want you to reply all, and they count on you just hitting reply. Hit reply all. Hit reply all. And if you know, like I know, learn the emails of people that are higher up. I would BCC HR if I needed to. You know what I mean? I BCC the admiral, and I have on several things. I have to, and the chief of staff. Always know who the chain of command is, and I don't give a shit if you decide to put your MPS, comma, their boss, comma, their boss, comma, their boss, comma. Go all the way up the goddamn chain if you need to get things done. They did not pay me accurately for over 2 months. I and the captain of that ship, who I do not, I used to respect him, but he ended up being shady too, but would email the base directly because most people wouldn't even continue working if they weren't getting compensated properly. And I am a alchemist in the kitchen, so I can get shit done, but they weren't paying me properly. And I humbly just sat there, I didn't just sit there, but I was trying to let the chain of command work. And finally, as a courtesy, I told the captain, look, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go all the way to the top because it's been too long that I haven't been paid properly. And I didn't come here to not get paid. So, I did what I did. And what took me 4 weeks or 5 weeks, because they kept not paying me right. And that was purposefully done because I wasn't the only person that wasn't paid right. The other people weren't paid right either, but they hurry up and corrected them. And we had the same detailers, but they made mine wait. Okay. Okay. What you don't want to do is be on this side of it. When I say on this side of it, I mean you don't want to be the person that nobody likes. But if it's unjust, then it's just unjust, and you don't have a real reason not to like me. I hold your ass accountable because you hold me accountable. I can't get away with shit. If you look at all my old videos, you will see that they stalk me. And other females have that same experience, but it's some about brown girls that they just feel like we are, I don't know, the less than or the lower than or whatever. And they think they can do and say whatever they want, and they try. And the biggest part of it is, of course, there are racial tensions in MSC, but a lot of times it's the black guys that do it too, especially if they have a little bit of power. And my MPSs are black. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I'm not here to sugarcoat shit and lie. I'm here to tell the truth, and this is what it is. So anyway, I furnished the information swiftly. I made sure to send it back super fast because I wanted everybody to see this before close of business. So, um, haven't heard anything back from them. Not sure if they're trying to regroup or anything. But at this point, it's borderline harassment because they keep throwing things at me that don't matter and that don't fit this situation. I don't know. Just make sure your critical thinking skills are up to par because you can be, if you don't know how to decipher things, like some people have been asking about tests, it's not necessarily a standardized test. It's just want to see if you can follow orders. And the test, what I mean is when you're in NEO, they do give you a test. At least they did. They did when I came in. But my information for that part of it is dated because I've been in for a while. And they changed the process a lot. Like I mentioned in other videos, there are now programs that you guys got to go through that I didn't have to go through. I never heard of an unrep school. But because a lot, they kept pushing people through without telling them that part of your job can be doing an unrep, depending on your position. They had to start putting everybody through unrep school because people didn't know how the hell to do it. And I'm sure they had some challenges. You have to because it's not. They don't address shit that they don't have to. So always email, and also keep all of your voicemails, even if you got to put it in a little file. And I know people, specifically women. I learned this from the Filipino women. They walk around with devices that record. Just do with that information what you will. And I'm sure it's tripped some people up at times. That's all I'm going to say. So if you are watching this in the day, as I always say, have a great day. And if you're watching this tonight, have a wonderful night. I think I'm going to keep this robe thing going. It's pretty comfortable. Y'all, I will see you next video. And as always, have a great day. I'm Sonali Ray. Bye.